Why hello there, welcome back. In our last tutorial we went over control statements, so like if statements and switch statements, and this time we're going to go into loops. So for loops, while loops, and do while loops. Basically what you use loops for is to just loop through the same bit of code over and over again until a condition is met. Let's go in and start with the for loop. So basically a for loop is an easy way to loop through the same bit of code a certain number of times. You can use these for looping through a list of objects or an array of objects, or you just want to do something a certain amount of times. So if you want to create a for statement, you type in for, and in brackets we'll create a number, call it int I, and set it to 0. And we want this to loop, say, 10 times. So we want it to loop while I is less than 10. Okay? And at the end of each loop, we want to increase it by 1, so I++. And in the brackets, we'll just make log, debug.log. Say the number is, and then I. Alright, so the for statement is going to loop 10 times and display display what I is. So we'll go back to Unity and hit play, and in our console the I starts at 0 and loops until 9. Alright, so like we said, it'll stop before I hits 10, and here. And you can increase I by more than 1 if you want to. So let's go I plus equals 2. So it'll increase by 2 every single time. So we'll clear this out, and we'll hit play again, and go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. And if you want to loop through an array or just a collection of objects, it's really basic too. So we'll do that here. So we'll go public, say we'll just make an array of booleans. So we'll go bool, square brackets for an array. My array equals new bool array, and we're going to make squiggly brackets and give it some default values. So we'll go false, true, false, false, true. Okay. Oh, put a comma there. Alright, so if we want to loop through the array, what we do is instead of comparing I to 10, we'll compare it to my array.length, and we'll just increase it by 1. Alright, and we'll say the value is my array, and in square brackets we'll put I. That's how you traverse your array. This is normally a number, and since I is, any number between 0 and the length, well, it'll traverse through the array. Alright, now we'll hit play, and nothing was output. And that's because, even though we gave it default values, for whatever reason, the size is 0 here. So let's just make 5 booleans, and we'll just give it a random value. So the log should loop 5 times and say true, false, true, true, false. So now if we hit play, true, false, true, true, false. Okay? It's as easy as that. And that's basically the gist of for statements. Alright, so now that we went over the for statements, we will do while loops. And basically what a while loop is that it's just a loop of code that will continue until a condition is met. So you have to be a little careful while you're programming with these, because sometimes you can end up with an infinite loop, which will just loop constantly, and then sometimes it'll crash your program. So watch out for that one. So basically what we're going to do is we'll start with an example of a while loop. So we'll go while, and let's say while my number is greater than 10. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to decrease my number, and we will log debug.log. The number, might want to put that in quotations. The number is, and or my number. Still thinking of those 4 statements. Okay, and before this, we're going to set my number to 40. Alright, so my number will start at 40, and it'll decrease, and it'll continue looping while my number is greater than 10. Okay, so we'll hit play, and bam, 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 bam. Number is 10, and then it breaks out of the loop. Okay. Yeah, and that's basically while loops. It doesn't get much more complex than that. Basically, what you want to do in here is just, that's up to you. But that's the extent of how you use while loops. The next loop is called a do while loop. And it's pretty much the exact same thing as a while loop. The only difference is a while loop will check the condition first and then do whatever's in the loop, and the do while loop will do whatever's in here and then check the condition afterwards. So what we're going to do is do, and let's just copy and paste. The output should be pretty much the same, but I just want to show you the difference. While my number is greater than 10. Okay, so that's basically the difference. It's while, it's checking the condition, and if it meets it, do whatever's in here. Do is just do whatever's in here, and then at the end, check the condition. And you got to make sure that you put the semicolon at the end of the do while loop. Okay, so we'll just get rid of that. And go back. And we'll hit play. And you get the exact same output, but the while loop is a little bit different. There are certain conditions where you're going to want to use a do while over a while, but for the most part they do pretty much the exact same thing. So there's very few conditions where I've actually had to use this, but I can think of quite a few. So yeah, so that's basically it for loops. What you do inside these loops is completely up to you. Got to remember to watch for those infinite loops. But yeah, I think that's good for now. So I'll see you guys next time. And we will call my method. Alright, so we'll just type in my